Hey dudes, and welcome back to The Bants. As always, I am your host, The Bants, and as you can see, we started off this video a little bit differently than usual. If you guys missed the first part of this video, which I uploaded yesterday, don't worry, of course I will link to it in the description down below. Plus, also at the end of that video, I talk about the new updates to this channel, specifically more the uploading schedule to this channel, so definitely be sure to check that out as well. But now, with all of that said, let's move on to our art stories for the day. And first up, David Krovblits showed off some of his newest works, and these are super great in my opinion. I love just how detailed the portraits are here, mixed with so many different pops of vibrant colors, as well as the little bit of pop culture references mixed in there too. And you're really getting a lot of those raw English vibes throughout a lot of these paintings, and if any of that sounds very interesting to you, I'd definitely check this out. Then Sho Shibuya showed off some of his newest designs from his recent gallery showing in New York, and I just love the simplicity here. I mean, taking just something as simple as Japanese lettering and turning it into pieces of art and design works done through a myriad of different mediums. It's just as cool and interesting as it is simple once again, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely check this out. And lastly, Tomokazu Matsuyama showed off some of his newest works from his recent gallery showing in Luxembourg, and these are just fantastic as well. Once again, a bevy of different colors used here, mixed with some really nice patterns and designs in a lot of these pieces, along with just these silhouettes of people that are not only interesting in and of themselves, but their outfits are just as creative as well. So if you're a fan of any of what I just said, I'd definitely take a look at some of these photos too. Okay, and now moving into our fashion section for the day. First up, the brand Enfants Riches Deprimes showed off their newest collection, and God, is it just such a fucking mess. For those of you who didn't know, this French name translated into English means depressed rich kids, which makes perfect sense because that's exactly what you have to be to enjoy this collection. Everything about this collection encapsulates everything I hate about most streetwear brands nowadays as well. The designs are absolutely lazy, if not tacky. Plus we see the reuse of some graphics here because God forbid we have to put creativity into another season. And I really do want to highlight those boots with these cigarette boxes for their heels, because now it's not just my opinion, but we can all now be objective in saying that these are actually trash. And can we all just agree on this? I actually think I'm cool, but I'm going to try my hardest to pretend that I'm not actually cool or care about it. Aesthetic is just fucking stupid. I mean, the hipster movement did this 10 years ago and pulled it off 10 times better than this brand could ever possibly hope to do. And if all of this wasn't enough, take that shitty streetwear brand that has all these same common flaws, throw a 0 onto the end of every single one of these pieces' prices, and that's how much this shit costs. Yeah, terrible through and through. Then Japanese brand F-Lagstuf showed off their Spring/Summer 2019 collection, and I have to say that overall, it's better than anything they've done before. Now I have to say that first up, when it comes to F-Lagstuf, I've always been very, very critical of the brand. Mainly because when it comes to everything they do, they're really just all over the place. When talking about their main line, I mean, there's really no better way to describe it. Yes, there's always a couple good pieces and a couple decent pieces in every collection, but there's no rhyme or reason how they put their collections together. There's just, it's like cohesive just doesn't exist in their dictionary or something. And I really don't even want to dive into their collaborations because, I mean, 99.5% of them are just utter garbage. But when it comes to this collection here, I kind of sort of feel like they're finally making some progress. Once again, we see the return of a lot of their ideas that they normally go along with, be it loud and noisy colors or loud and noisy prints and fabrics, plus a whole slew of different style ideas from streetwear, contemporary wear, and a lot of tech wear as well too. And aside from the fact that I feel like most of the pieces in this collection are better than what we normally normally see in one of their main lines. I also feel like it just feels more cohesive as well. And I really can't put my finger on why that is as well. I mean, there's just a whole slew of different colors. We have our neutral colors, plus our bold colors, our neon colors, our pastels. They're all there. Plus, there's just so many different design patterns going on in this collection that it's still really all over the place. But for some reason, it just makes sense to me. Really, I don't get it myself either, but I guess this is the best way I can explain it. When I look at past collections of Flagstuff, it really just looks like somebody took a grenade to a fabric shop. And even though I do get a lot of that here, I do also get less of it as well. That's the best I got. So is it cohesive? Not really, but is it palatable? Yes. Then Japanese brand Humis showed off their Spring-Summer 2019 collection, and I actually really enjoyed this one. Looking through this collection, I get a lot of that kind of slacker core vibe mixed with that kind of outdoorsy aesthetic, plus a nice little mix of some contemporary and even some very Japanese ideas mixed in. And even though that might sound like a lot going on, none of those vibes or aesthetics really try their best to be the front runner here, and in doing so they all meld together very nicely in a kind of toned down sort of way, if you can even believe that. Sure, when you look at some of those highly technical pieces or even some of those more maximalized fabrics, they do stand out in comparison to a lot of this collection, but overall I'm not really getting anything that overly dominates my senses or anything that I would consider completely unwearable, so to speak. So if you are a fan of that more technical outdoors wear, or maybe just that kind of hybrid of kind of tech and kind of contemporary that we've been seeing a ton nowadays, definitely check out this collection. Some pretty interesting pieces in here. Alright, and finally let's move on into our articles for the day. And first up, Highsnobiety put out their list of some of their favorite places to shop for fashion in London, and I have to say overall it seems like a pretty decent list. So if you are looking for some places to check out, if you happen to be in the area or if you happen to be traveling there anytime soon, I'd definitely give this a look. Then Vox put out a pretty interesting video doing a very nice job of helping you get the understanding of the difference between what a counterfeit is and what a knockoff is. So if you've ever had a little bit of trouble kind of defining the difference between the two, I'd definitely check out this video, very informative. Then the Business of Fashion put out a huge opinion piece on what they feel are the first steps you should take into getting started into the world of fashion, specifically sustainable fashion. And the author goes through a little bit of their past experience in fashion up till now, plus some of the major labels, brands, conglomerates, what have you, that are working on making their companies, their businesses much more sustainable, plus a lot of the trials and tribulations you might face while getting into fashion and might not have the chance to be working in the sustainable environment. And overall, a really good read, but a very, very long read. But if you are trying to get into fashion and specifically sustainable fashion, definitely worth checking out. And lastly, GQ put out a very nice article that's kind of an interview but more of a day-to-day look at what's going on in Rick Owens' life, and I have to say it's done mainly from the author's perspective here, and it's done very well. And if you've kind of been wondering what Rick has been up to since his fame and popularity has kind of diminished, I definitely look into this as well. Alright guys, and with that we reached the end of our second and final What's Happening in Fashion for the week. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And as always, if you want to take a look at some of the images I wasn't able to include in the video, or just read some of the articles I talked about today, I've linked everything in the description down below. And if you are new here, then welcome. We do these What's Happening in Fashion videos 2 times twice a week, meaning you get 4 videos, 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end of the week, plus another occasional video here or there. So if you're interested and want to see a little bit more, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, if you just have any questions, comments, concerns, or even just want to talk fashion in general, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I am always willing to talk fashion. And thank you all once again for watching these videos and supporting my content. And be sure to let me know what you think about the new uploading schedule as well. But now with all that said, I hope you all have a great couple of days until I see you next. And as always, until next time.